Hello, welcome to week 20 of 2023. My name is Stacy. Welcome back to Reads of an Apple. We'll just start there. I haven't read this weekend. If you watched last week's vlog, if not, I'll pop it up there. But last week I read Juliet Cross's new release and final book in her Stay a Spell series, Grim and Barrett. And I've been in a book hangover since. So I haven't pushed myself to get out of it just because I didn't want to end up reading a book that I would typically love and not liking it just because I wasn't in that good right headspace for it. But I think tonight I'm feeling a little better. I'm not as spiraling focused on Grim and Barrett. Like it's still in my head and I still love it to pieces, but it's not in the forefront of my mind anymore. So I'm going to try reading again. I have tried picking up a couple different books and nothing was really quite sticking, but tomorrow also starts the hike-a-thon. And I posted in an Instagram story earlier this week, any recs, because I'm in a book hangover, and Jen had commented that she was rereading Claire Kent, and I have read Claire Kent a while ago. I read her like Alien Prison Planet series, but I know Jen has really talked a lot about her like apocalyptic contemporaries, and I have one of them on my TBR for the hike-a-thon. So I'll link my TBR up above if you haven't seen that. So I'm going to attempt to pick up Last Light by Claire Kent tonight. She does have like an apocalyptic series, but this is a standalone that I think was published before the series, but I think this is a standalone and I have no idea if it's connected to the series at all, but I'm excited to try this. And I'm hoping this will kind of help get my reading juices back flowing because I've missed reading. But, so, reading news update, that's what I have for you, which is like nothing. I did this weekend, though, finally start season 3 of Mandalorian. I was waiting till it was done so I could binge it, but then I totally spaced that I have a podcast that I listen to after every episode, and I was just like, oh my gosh, why do I do this to myself? So now it's like I'll watch an episode, listen to the podcast, watch an episode, listen to the podcast, instead of just being able to binge it all. But I like to listen to the podcast in between because sometimes I get like frustrated with myself or frustrated with the podcast when they're like talking about things that they think might happen in the future, and I know that they're completely wrong. And while sometimes that's funny and I'm just like, oh, you're wrong, sometimes I just get annoyed with it. So I'm trying to pace them out like that. And because I haven't been in a reading mood, I've been doing that. And so far, I don't know how I feel. I'm halfway through. I've watched the first 4 episodes. I still have to listen to the 4th episode podcast, though. If you're wondering which podcast I listen to post-show recaps, so I'll link the Mandalorian stuff down below on their website. I do subscribe to them on Spotify, but they do so many shows and movies that if you don't download it on Spotify, they like hit their max and then episodes start getting removed. So I think all that's on Spotify right now are episodes 7 and 8 and one of the 2 for episode 6 and then like a wrap up. So I've been listening to them on their website, but I like them. It's DM Philly and a guy with an M. But I like them. They're the 2 that did the Lord of the Rings recaps for Rings of Power. And I've listened to them do other Star Wars and Marvel series. And they're just 2 big nerds. And I love that they're deep in a lot of these fandoms like myself. And I just love the way that they discuss them. So if you enjoy podcasts and you haven't checked them out, I definitely recommend them. But anyway, we're going to kind of keep it to that, I think. So let's do the quest calendar and we'll have a super short clip for today, right? Instead of like 40 minutes. So if you are new here, I have been playing the quest calendar of 2023. This is created by Sundial Games. This is a daily calendar that is based off of D20 based tabletop role-playing games. So think Dungeons and Dragons, D20 Modern, Pathfinder. You get the deal. The theme for 2023 is the Void Spark Chronicles, as you can see. And this is like space opera sci-fi based. So think Star Wars, Firefly, Star Trek, Battlestar Galactica. You name it, it's probably influenced some of what's going on here. So there's that. Now I do, when they usually do them on Kickstarter, but you can also purchase it just from their website. I have them linked down below. I like to get the deluxe version that comes with the Hero Companion book. This is so great. It has the characters in here. If you use one of their pre-created characters, all of the base level ups are already in here. What's new for 2023 is this landscape format, which I think is great. It also came this year with reusable stickers for our ship character sheet and for our equipment sheet for our character itself. It also has all of the rules and everything in the front. So it has everything you kind of need. And then it also comes with a marker that has a little microfiber sheet so you can erase it. So it's kind of vicious dry erase, but it's not a normal dry erase marker because they made sure it works specific for the laminate on the book. And it was a big whole testing thing that they talked about in their Kickstarter. So I have been playing as Zerillatur, so that is her right there. She is Urzin, and her class is a Mystic, so she's kind of like the Jedi type character. And then I'll show you, our ship is called the Karnak, and so there is our ship and our character sheet for that. Now, a basic layout of what the game looks like. Here's our calendar. So as you can see, we usually get full page artwork. Any of the script type font is the story that's going on. Any of the block type font, usually in a box, is letting us know the mechanics of how we're going to play the game. And then everything we need to know, like roles, results, stuff like that, is on the back of the previous day's page. So you can never like get spoiled unless you like go out of your way to spoil yourself, which is great. Also, I should mention Saturdays and Sundays are combined, so you get 6 days a week. So we are on Nick's station right now. We are headed to try to rescue someone who was captured, and we were on Nick's station and there was a supernova, and then that exploded a nearby moon, and now the moon is crashing down, and we're on an escape plan because things are not good right now. So let's see. Okay, yep. We are trying to escape. We're trying to get to our ship, so there are more people running. Well, things are happening, so let's just get right into it. You are the last one to return to the Karnak and climb aboard. The station is collapsing around you. Nayli has the ship ready to take off, but is holding at the captain's orders. Kalis tells you to help as many civilians as possible onto the ship before you run out of time. Oh, yay! Okay, hi! Alright, so... Hi! Hello, can I help you? She is completely full of it. So, it's kind of hard to see. Here's our box here. It says, see special instructions. You want to say hi to everybody? Say hi. She's usually really soft, but she's super duper soft because I've brushed her a couple times today when she's been laying on me. So, she's even more soft than normal. Yeah. What do you think? Yeah, you're just happy to get attention? Oh, kitty face. You are the best little baby kitty. Alright, so. Until you arrived, the crew had been taking aboard some of the fleeing citizens. You have a chance to save more lives. However, the longer you stay to help civilians, the more danger you put everyone in. Even if you help one person, you risk others. Repeat below as many times as you desire until you decide no, stop, or you have selected yes up to a maximum of 10 times. Someone is running to your ship to climb on board and escape the ultimate death they will face if they are left on the station. Do you help them? Okay, so I'm going to say yes. Let's do it. Let's try to save 10 people. All right. So take a -1 penalty to all rolls on the next page. This penalty will continue to stack with each person you help. If you help 5 people, you will have a -5 penalty to the next page. Ooh boy. Okay, that's scary, but all right. So gain 1 virtue, and then we get to roll a d4. All right. Okay. All right. And we gain 1 virtue point, but we're already at our max of +10. I feel like this is going to be scary. I want to help all 10, but I don't want to. I feel like we should just do 5. But let's see. Because a -10 on the next page is huge. It's huge. All right. So we're going to start with 1 and see how we go. So I rolled a 2. If the result is 2, the person is thankful and gives you 1 credit. Okay. All right. If you have not chosen to help yes for the 10th time, another person runs to the ship. Repeat, do you help them? Yes or no /stop. Okay. So we're going to help again. That's 4. So the person is thankful and gives you 3 credits. Okay, I'm just going to make a little note here. How many credits that we are gaining and how many people we are helping. So I would like a pen, and I'm pretty sure I have a pen in my basket here. Okay, so we have helped 2 people and we've gained 4 credits. Okay. Let's continue on. All right, so on to person number 3. That is another 4. Okay, so thankful and gives you 3 credits. So we are at 3 people. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. We're on to our 4th person. That is a 3. The person is thankful and gives you 2 credits. All right. So that's 4 total people. All right, we're on to our 5th person. That is 2. The person is thankful and gives you 1 credit. All right, so we are at 5 people. Do we stop? I feel like we should just keep going. I know -10 is a big deal, but I do have the option to reroll. So hopefully that'll give us a good chance to at least get away mostly unscathed tomorrow. So we're just going to go. We're going to rescue as many people as we can. Okay. I rolled a 1. The result is 1. The person is unable to climb aboard and falls to their death. Holy crap. Okay. Well, that was person number 6. So this is yes for the 10th time. But that doesn't mean that we'll be able to save 10 people. So we have officially helped people, tried to help people 6 times, but we've only saved 5. That's sad. That's sad. It couldn't just be they don't give us money. I mean, I feel weird taking money from these people because we're helping them survive. Let's not roll any more ones. Okay, so that one is a 3. So that is 2 credits. So that is another person. 2, 3. All right. Or I guess that was 2 credits. I gave myself 1 extra tick. Okay. All right. On to person number 8. That is another 3. Okay. So 2 credits. So I'll just add 1 because I put 3 last time. All right. Person number 9. Oh my God. This is so like stressful. A 4. Okay. So person number, I just don't want to roll a 1. The credits don't matter to me. I just don't want to roll a 1. Okay. And they give 3 credits, so... Three. Okay. All right. Final 10th person is a 1. Oh my gosh, they died. How sad. No, I don't like that. I don't like that they fall to their deaths and die. Oh. Okay, that makes me really sad. Alrighty. So we saved 8 of the 10 people. And we got 10 or 5, 10, 17 pieces of gold. Great. I mean, the gold doesn't matter to me outside of the fact that we were able to at least save 8 people. Okay, that's it for today. And now I'm nervous about tomorrow, but hopefully because we save people, that's good. So once you have chosen to help, yes, for the 10th time, the platform on the ship collapses. No one else can reach the ship and you must take off. Okay, so final thing for today is another new mechanic that they added for 2023, and that is the Sunday lottery. So what that is you have a chance, if you would like, to roll a d6. If you roll a 1 or a 2, you'll lose some credits. If you roll anything else, or a 3 or more, you gain some credits. So we might as well see what happens. And of course it's a 1. It's a 1. It's just a 1 type of day. So we lose 2 credits, but okay. Whatever. So we just got 15 credits for saving people. So yeah, we'll do that. I'll make a note that we have -10 for tomorrow. And yeah, so I think that's all I have for you tonight. So it is almost 8 o'clock. I need to finish editing last week's vlog and get that exporting tonight so I can get things up ahead of time. And then I'm going to try to read the rest of the night. So hopefully I will see you tomorrow. We will see what happens if I'm able to update regular, or I have the will to update you regularly this week, but it looks like we might have rain a lot again this week, which I am okay with. So I'm just nervous because all the crazy storms that we're getting, when because they like start building when they come over the mountains and hit us, and then once they hit like out east, they're like turning into all these crazy tornadic storms over in like Oklahoma and Kansas and Nebraska and craziness. So, but I love the rain here. All right, I'll leave it at that.
This is a reminder. Mother's Day.
Alexa, dismiss. Also, happy Mother's Day if you celebrate, or if you're a mom. And if you've lost your mom, like myself, I hope it wasn't too hard of a day. I just kind of tried not to treat it like such, but I did leave myself a reminder so I could text my stepmom because it's also her birthday. But I hope no matter what situation you are in, you had a good weekend and a good Sunday. But yeah, hopefully I will see you all tomorrow. Hello, happy Monday. Yay, I'm recording this on Monday. We are 2 days in a row, and this is just my personal goal. And I know I've said this before, and it doesn't really matter to you guys because you get the week in one video anyway, but I just feel bad when I don't film it every day because I feel like it's less of what's going on in life. Although it also works too, because if I'm just kind of down or slumpy or whatever, that's still life. But anyway, I have some things to talk to you about today. I have quite a few packages to open with you, and yeah, so let's do book stuff first. Last night I did start Last Light by Claire Kent. I am at 44%. I'm on chapter 7. I can't remember the heroine's name. I want to say it's like Lane or Rain or something like that. It's all in her POV, so I've only seen her name like twice in the book. But so this is post-apocalyptic. And this is actually 4 years after the apocalyptic event happens, and there is a asteroid that last minute changes trajectory and ends up crashing into Earth. It hits in Germany, and it just causes shockwaves around the world. So, there's a lot more earthquakes, seismic activities, there's a lot more tsunamis, there's a lot more tornadoes, and just the weather patterns of the world kind of goes crazy after this event happens. And then what ends up kind of happening in the US where we're based is the seismic activity causes the Yellowstone volcano not to erupt, but to just kind of erupt ash. So just ash. So basically ash kind of takes over the atmosphere, and there's a lot of life that's ruined, and a lot of people died just if they had lung issues, and then with the ash. And so it's like very apocalyptic. People are making do. There's not really much electricity anymore, except for like enclosed areas where you can protect the power plant and things like that. And a lot of smaller communities were able to cut themselves off, because what also ended up happening is what they call droves. And that is giant groups of people who are basically like, we can be outlaws and we can do whatever we want because government has pretty much fallen around the world. And so they just are giant masses, hordes, if you will, of just people who pillage, take what they want, do what they want. It's very interesting just kind of the way that human nature has kind of reverted back to like caveman days, where yes, women are strong, and it's something that our heroine talks a little bit about, where she's just like, I was raised, women can be independent, women can be strong, women, can do their own things and don't have to rely on a man. But in this new world where it's survival of the fittest, a lot of women are almost redelegated back into the role of relying on a man for protection. Just because, they're stronger, they're just naturally stronger, bigger, that type of thing. But I love the connection between her and Travis. I guess it was a mechanic back in their small town. And so, she took her car to him from the time she was 16. So while they didn't like know each other, she did recognize him, even though it's been years. Like I said, this is 4 years later. She had stayed back in their small town. I guess their specific small town was able to kind of make do with a couple neighboring small towns with hunting. They had a local power plant between the couple little small towns that they were able to keep running for a while and just kind of make do. But with the atmosphere being completely ruined from the ash erosion or ash eruptions, a lot of vegetation started dying out. A lot of, animals weren't able to replenish now that we're hunting them for food even more than normal. And so, there's resource difficulty. And she had stayed behind when a group of them left to head to Fort Knox for protection, because that was like one of the last big military strongholds. And she stayed behind because her grandmother was still living, but she was very sick. I guess she had lung issues before the ash thing, or she died because of lung issues from the ash. But she runs into Travis because now that her grandmother has passed, she's going to try to make her way to Fort Knox to meet up with the rest of her town. And she runs into Travis, who had stayed behind because he stayed with his young daughter. I think she was a few years old. And she has now passed, which is very sad. So they meet up with each other. It's really interesting because he comes across the motorcycle that she's using in her pack when she sneaks off into the forest to take a bathroom break, and he's just like, sorry, I didn't realize it was somebody's, I just thought it was abandoned. And she holds him at gunpoint and he backs off, and then she does kind of find herself in a situation, and he ends up stumbling upon her once again. And at that point, he kind of helps save her, and then they decide to team up. There is like a group. I wouldn't say they're a drove because they're not being completely reckless, but there's a group of like 40 women who have all banded together, and a lot of them are like kick-ass women, and they are protecting, because another thing that's come up is that a man will take a woman and kind of force her to sleep with him in, as like a payoff for being kept safe kind of a situation. There's also, it sounds like they're just gonna take what they want, and people, a lot of men are losing their inhibitions. But I'm really, really enjoying it. It's super fun. And the apocalyptic nature is really interesting. And I'm kind of enjoying the fact that it's not like a pandemic sickness type thing, that it's like all Mother Nature kind of being ruined through an asteroid hit. And I'm really enjoying it. So it is age gap. I'm not sure how old Travis is. I'm guessing he's probably in his late 20s, early 30s. But she is definitely, I think she said she was 21 or 22, so she's early 20s. And she actually is a virgin when they get together, because when she was like 16, 17 when this event occurred, she had a boyfriend, and they had done some things, but they hadn't gone all the way. And then when he died, she just wasn't in a situation where she ever was close with somebody that way again. And one night she asked Travis to sleep with her because she wants to make it her choice. And it's shortly after a scare happens where two men think she's alone and come upon her and try to take advantage of the situation. And she ends up kind of fighting back, and then Travis ends up kind of coming and killing the dude who was like putting his hands on her. And she wants to give her virginity to him because she wants it to be her choice. Plus, she's super attracted to him, and we're getting hints that like he's attracted to her, but he's trying not to push because she's younger, and he doesn't want it to seem like he's taking advantage of her or of the situation, although he is genuinely attracted to each other. I love that they're talking about how they're getting used to their natural scent. And there's a moment where she asks him, or he offers to help her kind of learn some self-defense things, and she's getting something out of their supplies out of the back. I think they have a Jeep, if I remember correctly. And he's just like, you got to be on your guard. And she goes, I smelled it was you, so I wasn't like overly on guard. And he's like, are you telling me I smell bad? And she goes like, no, I recognize your scent. I knew it was you. And he's just like, yeah, And she's like, no, seriously, I know your scent. It's a sense of comfort. And I love that. And they kind of make little jokes about, they don't have the normal hygienic stuff like shampoo. And they have found like a bar of soap every now and again. And, sometimes when they go through houses, they can find some canned food, and they're siphoning gas from cars that are left abandoned in like garages. Because a lot of the ones that are on the side of the road are on the side of the road because they ran out of gas type of situation. But I'm really enjoying it. It's really fun. This is definitely like road trip, survival, apocalypse, and definitely kind of, I mean, I wouldn't 100% say it's like forced proximity outside of they are kind of forced to be together for safety for the situation. But what I also really love is Travis is like, I probably wouldn't have gotten this far without you. Like, I know you're very grateful and it's a weird dynamic that we have right now. He's like, you think of things differently than I do. I wouldn't think to check some of these places or to pick up some of the items that we've picked up. And so he's just like, we work great as a team for survival. And they're both kind of playing on both of the strengths that they have, both as man and woman and just as people in general with different lives. So I'm having fun. I'm definitely enjoying it. I'm hoping to kind of finish it tonight, but we will see. I didn't have too much time to read last night, but I'm definitely flying through it, which is great. But I'm going to stop rambling on about it there. So let's do the quest calendar, and then we will get to my packages that I have. It's quite a few. So yesterday we left off taking a huge minus because we tried to save as many people as we could. So let's see what today is. Okay. You take off from the port at the last possible second when Nick's station continues to be bombarded by fragments of the dried-on moon. You need to navigate through the city and the falling debris. All right. So there we go. We're blasting off. So number 1 is avoid colliding with the falling wreckage, and 2 is avoid hitting the moon fragments. So both are dexterity rolls with the piloting skill. We do not have the piloting skill, but we have a dexterity roll of +4. But we get a -10 for yesterday. So we're at a -6. So I'm hoping that we roll well today. So... all right, avoid falling with the falling wreckage. You are surrounded by collapsing platforms, falling towers, and debris that plummets to the streets and lower levels of the city. You must first steer the Karnak clear of this wreckage. All right. Roll well for me, little die. Natural 20. Natural freaking 20. Thank you, little die. Oh my gosh. I can't believe that we actually rolled a natural 20. So that's 14. Okay, so if the result is between 11 and 15, the ship takes 2 points of damage minus your shield value. So our shield value. So I'm going to switch over here to our ship character sheet. Our shield is 1. So we only end up taking 1 point of damage. We can choose which section takes the point of damage, I believe. Let me... ship damage. Okay. For each point of damage the ship takes after subtracting, you will roll a d6 to determine which compartment gets hit. Okay, each time the compartment gets hit, reduce the compartment's integrity by 1. If the integrity of a compartment ever falls to 0, remove any crew and ship upgrades attached to that compartment as they are destroyed. That's sad. Our crew are destroyed. If further damage is dealt to a compartment with an integrity of 0, reduce your hero's health by that much damage instead. Okay, so I will roll a d6. And we shall see. This is the first time our ship is taking damage. That is a 2. So 2 is the bridge, which is perfect because we have almost max integrity on that. So we can take some damage there. So I'm going to mark that we took 1 damage on the bridge. Okay. So there's that. So number 2, avoid hitting the moon fragments. Once you leave the lower streets of the city, chunks of the moon in various sizes crash into the Karnak. The tiniest pieces are unavoidable and should be taken care of by the shield and tough hull of the ship. The larger ones need to be dodged, but there are just so many of them. Okay. Roll well for me again, little die. So once again, same roll, -6. That's an 18. Okay, that's an 18. I feel like I should just like, oh, it's the little 18 right there. Oh my gosh. Okay, so that makes it a 12. So we're in the same section if the result is between 11 and 15. This time the ship takes 3 points of damage minus your shield value, so 2 points of damage, and I will roll our d6. And that is a 3. 3 is the labs, which the labs are doing okay. The labs are up here because we have a crew member in the labs. So we'll take 2 points of damage to the labs. And that integrity is 4. And then so is the bridge. So we'll have to do some repair to the ship once we get the chance to repair the ship. So that is great. I'll have to look in the rules and see if I can do it now, and if I have to, or if I have to wait until like we take a rest type of situation. But I'll do that off camera and go from there. So there is that. That wasn't too bad. Thank goodness we rolled well. I feel like that could have been a lot worse. Not that I would feel bad for saving people, but if we like completely destroyed the ship because we like stayed to save people, that would have been a weird situation. So, as for packages, I have 4 different packages here to show you. 2 of them I got last week that I just never showed you. And I have had sitting on here to unpackage since then. And then 2 I got today. So I will show you this one first because it's kind of in the way. Today I got Abduction, which is a board game where you're like a UFO and you abduct ducks, which is super cute. So a weirdly strategic duck kidnapping game. It looks super cute. I backed it on Kickstarter. I'll link their website if they have like a pre-order store or something available down below. But I did open everything and go through it. This does have the base game and the expansion as well. But I am a rubber duck person. I don't know if you know this, but I love rubber ducks. I have a little rubber duck collection. But I pulled out one of the bags of ducks. Aren't they so cute? So there's yellow ones, white ones, like a light pink one, a like blue purple one, and then in the expansion there's 10 like neon green glitter ducks, which is awesome. But I'm super excited to play this. It does say that it's 1 to 4 players, and then with the expansion you can do up to 6 players, which means there's a solo mode, and I'm very excited for that. I just wish I had my table cleaned off. So I need to get going on the rest of those boxes so I can clean off my table and I can start playing some board games because I've missed playing some board games. But I'm very excited about this game. I don't back too many games on Kickstarter anymore just because they're all so expensive. But this one I feel like was only like $30 or $40. And when it came, I was expecting like a smaller game box, and I was surprised at how big it was. But there's a lot of tray packaging kind of stuff in there. But we will move on. One of the packages that I got last week, I got my new Conqueror medal for the Mines of Moria. So if you haven't seen me talk about these, the Conqueror is a virtual challenge fitness thing. That's their logo here. I'll link them down below. And you can do, it's like virtual marathon running or races, and you can use any type of exercise activity that tracks distance. So swimming, walking, running, rowing, anything kind of like that. I have it just synced to my Fitbit, so all of my Fitbit stuff just automatically transfers over. I have been doing the 5 medal Lord of the Rings race. So there's 5 different races that tell the story of Lord of the Rings. And so this is the 3rd one, Mines of Moria. So as you can see, here's the 5 different ones. So I've already shown the first 2 in previous weeks. So let's see. I haven't opened it up. I just took off the stickers. I just saw this. So let's see. It's so cool. So there's a little congratulations thing on the front. Look. Oh my gosh, look at it. It is so gorgeous. Speak, friend, and enter. Ah, ah. Okay, so let me pull out. And then the cute little packaging on the front. I guess, I don't know if I'd say cute, but it's Gandalf versus the Balrog. But here is the ribbon. I don't know if you can tell. It has like dwarven designs on it. And then we've got the Fellowship traveling through the mines of Moria. So here is the front of the medal. It's got a good heft to it, but it looks like it opens. I'm sure it does. I'm sure it opens. Okay, yep. So if you pull this, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, this is so cool. Oh my gosh. Look. There's even a design on the inside of the doors. Oh, that is so cool. Oh my gosh. It is so cool. And I love that there's even that lake here with the little tentacles. So let's look at the back. Are we ready? I have it covered still, so I haven't seen the back yet. Ah, it's the Balrog! Oh my gosh. That is so cool. Oh my gosh. Oh, I didn't even notice. You can see through it. There's lines here and they're see-through. I don't know if you can see my skin through here. So it's like an actual door. Isn't that so cool? Look at that. That is such great detail. It's gorgeous. And then of course it says, "You shall not pass." Oh my gosh. I love this. I love this to pieces. I cannot wait to see. The one I'm working on right now, I think is called the Eye of Sauron. Is what number 4 is. I know the 5th one is Mount Doom. And I know there's something really cool that we can do with the ring that we get in the first one. I think it's the Eye of Sauron, but I can't remember what it's called. But I'm very, very excited. That one, the one that I'm working on right now, is number 4. And that one, I think, is the longest of the 3. So it's taking me a little bit longer to get through it. But I know for sure I've hit almost 40% on that one. But yeah, so there's that. I'm very excited for that. That is so awesome. It looks so great. Okay, moving on. 2 packages left. So, another Kickstarter package came. This is one that I backed a while. It did come with some extra stuff. Some of it just Kickstarter extras, and then some of them I specifically added on. But this is a tarot deck, and it is called the Literary Tarot. This is made by the Brink Literacy Project, which I think is a nonprofit organization. But this is a tarot deck with each card being associated to a book. But I feel like, I mean, I'd love a romance version of this, but I feel like a lot of these are like classics. But I just remember thinking that that was really cool, and a lot of their proceeds of stuff that they do is for like their literacy program stuff that they do as their nonprofit. So I thought it was super cool. I'll link them down below. I don't know if they have any extra copies outside of the Kickstarter, but now that I took the package off, isn't that gorgeous? And it looks like a little box, like one of those locked books. There's the back, and then the top and the bottom are also the pages. Oh my gosh, and there's like the end of a bookmark. That's cool. All right, so I'm assuming this is magnetic closure. Yep, this is a magnetic closure box. Ooh, hear that crease? Open it for the first time. Okay, so here's the inside. All right, so it says Literary Tarot Deck Brink. Wait, a nonprofit made this. Stories for Change. By adding this fine literary tarot deck to your collection, you're doing more than just supporting great literature and art. You're helping to bring the most life-changing stories to those who need them most. Our nonprofit, Brink Literacy Project, runs innovative education programs in underdeserved communities, increasing literacy rates, fostering a love of literature, and helping people across the globe turn the page to a brighter future. All proceeds from this deck go towards our nonprofit mission to use storytelling to change the world. That's cool. Okay, so our top is the guidebook, which has the same foiling on it. And then it has "Welcome, dear reader," to your deck on the back. So I'm just going to kind of glance through. Okay, so it looks like we got some basic tarot information in the beginning and a simple 3-card and 5-card reading. And then our major arcanas, it looks like the artwork isn't in here, but each card of the major arcana gets its own page. And then, oh, okay, and then the same for the minor arcana. Each card in the suits gets their own page. So that's cool. A lot of the times you see the minor arcana get like 2 or 3 cards a page, but that's cool that they kept the same. But I do want to look. So they did rename things. So wands are now ink. Cups are light or candles. Swords are quills. And pentacles are parchment. So that's good to know. So they go over that, and then there's a little blurb about their renaming logic. So here's the deck. We shall see. This is a little thicker on the outside than I prefer a deck case to be, but it's not as bad as others I've seen, that's for sure. So it looks, we've got nice gold edges. And then we'll take the wrapping off here. And so here's the back. Everything is gold foiled. This is a hollow gold foil. And then the fronts of the cards, as you can tell by the Fool, and I'm pretty sure that's Don Quixote, or as my grandmother said, Don Quixote instead of Don Quixote. But I don't know if you can tell, but there is gold foiling on those. So I'm just going to glance through a couple of my favorite cards here and see they are kind of sticking together because this is the first that these cards have really kind of been separated here. And I know that there's a lot of different artists that worked on this. I don't know if it was a different artist per page or per card, or if it was an artist got a couple of groups. But I think if I remember correctly, every single card is a different piece of literature. So these are really sticking together here. And some of these I might not even recognize the books, but oh, interesting. So there's Death. Looks like Dracula. Oh, interesting. The Devil card is Moby Dick. Interesting. It'll be really interesting for this to go through what they have as their reasonings behind what books went with what card, because that might lend this to being not as much of an interpretive or open to interpretation when you get a card. But okay, so the moon is Alice in Wonderland. And it looks like every card does have some foiling. I don't know if this is Black Beauty or if this is a different horse book, but the sun is gorgeous. It's got a horse and sunflowers, and every single one of the sunflowers is gold, as well as the rays off the sun. But I think I'm going to try to go through. I am a big cups person, and I'm also pretty critical on how the swords is. So I think swords were quills and cups are now light. Is that what I said earlier? Because I think ink was wands. Yeah, so light and quills is what I'm looking for. These are so sticky. These are also very thick cards. Like, that's how thick a card is, which is really thick for a lot of decks. All right, more ink, Knight of Ink, Queen of Ink. Okay, all right, so Ace of Light. So this is cups. And this is interesting. This looks like a Chinese vampire. I wonder what story that is. It might be something I've read before or know of, like from retellings. So cups are happiness, or light is cups. Okay, so 3 of Light is Wizard of Oz. That's cute. I like that. So I'm really intrigued to see how 10 of Cups is portrayed, because to me that's the happily ever after card. So I'm usually kind of pretty critical of that one. Oh my god, they're so sticky with each other. Okay. Cute. It's not quite, I mean, I'm getting, this feels more like 10 of Wands than 10 of Cups to me, but it's still cute. It still works. All right, so Page of Light, Knight of Light, Queen of Light. All right, and then the swords, I feel like gets a bad rap. All right, so Ace of Quills, 2 of Quills. Okay, Ace of Quills. That looks like Sherlock. Interesting. That's an interesting take. Okay. I know this is probably boring for you, but I'm having fun. Okay, so 3 of Quills. This is typically like heartbreak. And I'm not sure what this is. If you recognize what literature this is referring to, please let me know. But we've got like a desiccated hand chained to this old man's hand with some coins. It looks like there's a soul and an older lady. I don't know what that's from. 4 of Quills, 5 of Quills, 6 of Quills, 7 of Quills. Ooh. All right, 8 of Quills. Interesting. Oh, that's really interesting. I like that take on 8 of Swords or 8 of Quills in this aspect. And let's see how bad they do 10 of Quills. Oh, okay. Well, that's interesting. They didn't go like full on death like a lot of cards do. So I'll have to see. Maybe this is, I feel like this is a Mark Twain book. Okay, Page of Quills. Oh my gosh, they're like sticking together. Queen of Quills, King of Quills. All right, and then Ace of Parchment. Okay, well, this kind of looks... Huh. All right, let's see if we can get these last few apart, just so I can glance through. So Parchment was... I don't remember, but this is Christmas Carol. So that was wands. So these are pentacles. For 4 of pentacles. Okay. Okay, I can see that. I can see that. I like that. Seven of Pentacles is Jurassic World. I love it. I love it. Look at the raptor. Oh my god, he's playing. he's like playing with the maps. That's crazy. Oh, 9 of Parchment. I wonder if this is Memoirs of a Geisha? I can't quite tell. It's definitely geisha, and this is definitely a Japanese palace. Like, I recognize that architecture. Oh, the Page of Parchment. I'm pretty sure that's Romeo and Juliet. Oh, and then the picture of Dorian Gray is King of Pentacles. I think that works. So yeah, that is that deck. This will be definitely one I have to sit with and definitely go through the guidebook as I go through things, but we will kind of leave it as that. So let me stick this back in here really quick. Then when I went through my purchases, I also got the tarot mat, or the altar cloth or reading cloth, whatever you want to call it, because that has been a new thing of mine. I like to get pretty tarot cloth. And the ink is sticking to the plastic of the package, which is not helpful. But I remember really liking this design, but obviously it's been a while since I submitted all my stuff for it, because that's what happens with Kickstarter. Ooh, yeah, that ink is still kind of sticky. Ooh, this is not the kind of material I thought it was going to be. Ooh, and it's really sticking to itself. Okay, I gotta be careful here. Yeah, that's slightly disappointing. Yeah, I don't know what happened with their printing press. I'm like super nervous that I'm gonna rip some of the, like, look at it. It is like super sticking. It's a lot of the tarot cloths I have are a lot less sturdy. They're more flowing. And so this definitely is like a denser, thicker, tighter weave. But so here, ooh, it's sticky on my fingers too. So here is the cloth. So it looks like it's 2 sides repeated. So we've got a book stack with a candle on top. So here's what it is right side up. And then we've got in the center this kind of eye situation. And then we've got the quills and the ink pots. And then there is in this frilly stuff, looks like some constellations. Okay, so yeah, this is definitely like it's not too, but it's a very thick, tight weave on a cloth. And I'm gonna set this out, and hopefully this, as of right now, I wouldn't use my cards on this because this is so sticky still. And you can see where there's been like collections of ink in the printing. So I feel like they chose either the wrong fabric or something happened here. So that's kind of slightly disappointed. It has a nice sheen to it, but it's just not Like the drape isn't really there. And I could go grab one of my other ones, but I'm not going to worry about it. Also, a pin. I feel like this was something that was unlocked in the Kickstarter because I don't remember specifically ordering a pin. Okay, so this looks like it's the back of the cards, but it's multicolored. So we've got a double post enamel pin. So that's fun. I like pins. And then these, I'm guessing, were also Kickstarter extras because I don't remember ordering these, but there are postcards with art. So that one's Death, you know, because we looked at that one. And this one is the Moon because we also looked at this one. And I'm not sure what this one is. But this looks like it's the Knights of the Round Table. But I don't know which card that's saying. It doesn't say on there. And then the other thing that I got is they offered a booster pack. And they called it the Major Arcana Booster Pack, I believe. And I think it was just I think it was different artwork for some of the cards. And I remember really liking one of these. So I was like, I'm going to get the booster pack. So let's see what we got here. We got a different option for the lovers. Oh, okay. And then here's Hades and Persephone, the lovers. So there's two different lovers cards in here. And then a magician, the magician. And then this is a different moon card. And then this is a different star card. This is one of the cards why I got this one. I'm guessing I also got it because of the Hades and Persephone. And then this is the different death card. So interesting. So those are just some other options if I want to switch cards out in my deck, or if I want to do like a dedicated spread centered around a Major Arcana card. I can just pull one of those and do a spread based around that, and then I'm not pulling it out of the deck. Although technically you're supposed to, but I think it's fun. Or it's interesting, like if you are getting the death card a lot, so you're doing a spread. I'm just using the death card because it's in the top of my brain. You do a spread about the death card, so you do the death card in the center, and then you make a spread around it, trying to figure out why you keep getting the death spread or the death card. And then the death card pops up. I don't know. I just find that super fun. So there's that. And I know this is a super long clip. I'm just making up because yesterday was shorter than it typically is. Now, the other thing I have is I have this box. So last month, the month of April, was the Fantasy-a-thon by Keshia. This month I'm participating. She's the one that's doing the May Day is Lay Day in Hawaii. And I was one of the 3 people who won her prize last month. So I was super excited, and she's from Hawaii, and so this is my winner's package. So I don't know what's in here. All I did was cut the tape on it. And I'm excited to see what's in here. I don't even know what's going to be in here. So okay, this is a huge box, and it is like chocked full of stuff. Oh my gosh. So here's a little card. Congrats on winning my Fantasy-a-thon giveaway. Enjoy these gifts. I love the little mermaid card. That's super cute. Okay, so we've got lots of things happening in here. Okay, so here is a gorgeous pin banner. Ooh, that'd be like perfect for some like fantasy pins. I know I have fantasy pins. That's super fun. Okay. I like don't know where to go. I don't want to make a mess with all this crinkly stuff. Okay. All right, we're just going to try to move things slightly. So here is Change Your Life with Better lighting. Siloplex LED starry string lights. Love it. I actually have fairy lights up around my living room, but I've been thinking of getting some fairy lights for my bedroom. So this I might have to put in my bedroom because that is great. It looks like this is a battery operated set, so I want to try to get a thingy that you can use to change it or put it on a timer or whatever. But I'm super excited for, whoa! Okay, so they're all like super short. And there's 6 of them in here. That's crazy. So these you can make to like little mason jar thingies. Interesting, cute, fun. I love little crafty stuff like that. Okay, we will keep going. Oh, here is a rose road ring inspired by A Broken Blade by Melissa Blair. That is on my TBR. So there is a rose with a sword going through it. Cute, cute. There's so much in here. This is, one of those book covers that you put, cloth book covers that you put on the corner. This is Heart of My Heart, Moon of My Soul, which is a quote that sounds familiar and it's escaping me what it's from at the moment. There's so much in here. Okay, here's a glow-in-the-dark enamel pin, inner eye. The inner eye does not see upon command. Creepy, but works. That fits well since we're talking about tarot stuff here. And then here is a pair of wings, it looks like. Looks like it's another pin. I don't know what it is, but it's gorgeous. And it's got like roses on it. And like little vines. If you know what this pair of wings is from, let me know because that's really cool. I love really fun designed wings like that. That would go perfect on that fantasy pin board. Okay, next. Oh, here's a cute little wallet. Super cute. I have something like this that I'd put my like 2 or 3 most used cards in. So I definitely can switch that out because that's perfect for the summer and spring. So here is a coaster set from LitJoy Crate. And this is an exclusive pirate set. So it looks like these are laminated corkboard. What would the world be like without Captain James Hook? And then this is the day you will always remember as the day you almost got Captain Jack Sparrow. I am a pirate person, so this is right up my alley. Anything worth doing starts as a bad idea. And who needs a prince when you can have a pirate? Love it. I mean, it depends on what kind of pirate, right? Modern day pirates? No, thank you. Okay, super fun, super fun. We will keep going. Here is a cute notebook. It's got a compass on it, which I love. And then it's got brown, soft, velvety feel. And then we've got some paper. It's one of the six rings. Oh, cute. And there's a little like bookmark. Here's your place with an anchor on it. Cute. And then it has the leather dong that has a ship wheel on it. This is super cute. I love this book. Oh, it's gorgeous. I love it. And I love that it has this little, well, I don't know if it's supposed to be there. I'm not 100% sure what these are for. I feel like you could put stuff in it. At first I thought like I could put this inside of it, but then it wouldn't close properly. So I don't know what those things are for, but I like it. It's super cute, and I love the compass. This fits. This fits what I enjoy. So I am okay. I am happy for it. Uh-oh. A piece of plastic is broken. Something's broken. Okay, this is the cover. Or this is the lid to a candle, which I will probably take these to work because I'm not allowed to burn candles in my apartment. Or I could put them on like a candle warmer. But this is Suki from A Quart of Candles. This is Japanese grapefruit and sage. Oh, I love that. Oh my gosh, look at that pretty color. Oh, it's gorgeous. It smells great. It smells amazing. I love that smell. And then there's another one here. Elian, Prince of Midas, Sea Mist, and Musk is the scent. And there is wax. This one is a soy candle. So it's super soft. So there is kind of, because that lid broke, there is kind of wax everywhere. But this one is like in a little baby jar. I can't open it. There we go. Oh, yeah, this is very like ocean, but there's glitter on it, which is fun. That's a very ocean smell for sure. Okay, moving on. There's still more in here. Okay. So, oh my gosh, I'm getting these little crinkle papers everywhere. And I don't know what to do. I'm going to have to do some cleaning. It's fine. We're good. Okay, so here is a pillow cover, it looks like. Royal Castle Sandmort, Lake of Lavinius, City of Nightmares, Black Mountain Retreat. And it's the same on the other side. I have no idea what this is from. If you know, please tell me. This is very soft. It's very soft and cushy. I love that. I love fun, bookish pillowcase covers for throw pillows. Okay. Okay, next, do something wrapped in bubble wrap. Oh my gosh, look at this Ursula mug. Look at this Ursula mug. Oh my gosh. And this does come from Disney. I now have two badass Ursula mugs. I have one that my best friend got me when they took their honeymoon to Disney World, and one of the things they brought me was an Ursula mug from there because they know I'm obsessed with The Little Mermaid. That's my favorite Disney movie. But this one is cool. They are different. Oh my gosh, this is so cool. Oh my gosh. It does have one little hidey hole. So this temple, or this tentacle here, is completely open. So that'll be a pain to clean, but that's okay. I mean, I just won't drink anything crazy in it. I'll just try to keep it to like light teas. Oh my gosh. That is amazing. Oh my gosh. And there's still more in here. Okay. So here's the last thing. It looks like a book cover with two people who I don't know. I don't know who this is. We'll see if the book matches the cover. So what is in here is Everblue Mertales Book 1 by Brenda Pandos. I've never even heard of this. And oh, it has artwork inside of it. That's pretty. So there's that. So this might be the person on this cover. I don't know. If you know, let me know. If you know who these people are. And if you've read this book, let me know. Because I'm definitely intrigued. Let's see. Best friends share everything with each other, or do they? 17-year-old Ashlyn Frances Lansky is tired of her boring single life, spending time with her best friend Tatiana, dreaming about kissing Tatiana's twin brother Finn, and swimming competitively are her only sanctuary. The girls plan to leave their drab lakeside town far behind for college, but when Tachi fails to return home after a family emergency and no one knows where the family has gone, Ash chooses to do something drastic to find them. Ashlyn is about to discover what she'd thought to be true her whole life wasn't, and the truth too fantastical to imagine. Secrets lurk beneath the deep blue waters of Lake Tahoe, secrets that will change Ashlyn's life forever. So this is definitely young adult. I typically don't read young adult, but I'm intrigued. Mertales. I mean, this sounds like fantasy based in the sea, paranormal type stuff, so I'm intrigued. I'm definitely intrigued. Interesting. So we've got... I'm confused, though, because it says when Tachi fails to return home. But who's Tachi? We have Ashlyn, Tatiana, who's her best friend, and her twin brother Finn. But when Tachi fails to return home... I mean, maybe that's what she calls Tatiana as a nickname? I don't know. That's kind of weird to use a nickname if it's not explained as a nickname on your blurb. But okay. I guess there's a book 2, Evergreen, in Mertales, coming in summer of 2012. Okay, this is an old book. That was unexpected. Copyright 2011. So this is an older book. So yeah, we'll see. I don't know when I'll pick it up, but I definitely want to read it. And it's cool that we got some fun artwork with it. Oh, well, this is interesting. This artwork is talking about Fable. I cannot wait for you to dive into this story with Fable. Having a book come out in 2020 is a strange experience. I don't know if this artwork actually matches with this book. Or maybe this is like a redo. A re-release. I don't know. I'll have to do some research. But if you know anything of this, if you recognize any of these bookish things that I don't recognize, please let me know down below. I think I'm going to leave it at that. We're at almost an hour, which is absolutely ridiculous because it's already Monday. So I'm going to put all this together and I'm going to finish listening to my Mandalorian podcast because I watched another episode with dinner today. And then I'm going to get back to reading. So I will hopefully see you tomorrow. But no matter what, I hope you have a good Monday night and a good Tuesday. Hello, happy Wednesday. Yes, it's Wednesday. So I did not film a clip yesterday, but that is fine. Everything's fine. I just kind of wasn't feeling like filming yesterday. I was reading and then I put on the Nuggets game. I read after I watched an episode of Mandalorian, and then I was listening to my podcast for the episode I watched. And then I just kind of went to bed early, so no update from yesterday, but I do have stuff to talk about a little bit, but I'm going to try to keep it brief because I know Monday's clip was super long. So let's do the quest calendar first, get that done and taken care of. So where I last left you on Monday is we are trying to escape after saving as many people as we were able to previously. So I'm assuming we're escaping. Okay. Yep. All right. So yeah, we've got more things occurring here. You sail away as the city behind you is left to its destruction. An uninhabited planet in the Thilmone system explodes from the force of the supernova. Some fleeing ships are caught in the blast. Well, that's unfortunate. I'm going to trim this here because I have to keep moving it out of the way. So I'm just going to trim this. Okay, that went on the floor, but okay, we'll make it work. So we have three options. A, decide to divert power to the ship's shield in hopes of withstanding the blast. B is divert full power to the engine to try to escape the blast. And C is make a split decision to plot a course using the faster than light drives. Ooh. Okay, that's intriguing. So let's see if there's any other information over here. I mean, so what is the difference? So, powering the shield is a wisdom, reminder, engineering. Same for to the engine to try to escape, reminder, engineering. And then the option C is intellect, reminder, computers. So the first two are wisdom. We are way better at wisdom. So as fun as it would be to try to use the void spark, I'm going to hold off on that. So we're going to go with either diverting power to the shield or to the engines. I feel like we should do the engine. And we should just try to get out of here instead of taking time to hunker down, because we still will have to get out of there. So I'm going to go option B. So divert full power to the engine to try to escape the blast. You don't have enough time to plot a safe course with the faster than light speeds the void spark engine is capable of. The Void Spark engine is one of the fastest in the galaxy, but it may not outfly the speed of an exploding planet. Perhaps if it had more power, you could outrun the blast. All right. So once again, wisdom roll, reminder, engineering. We do not have engineering, but we get our +4 from our wisdom. So let us see what happens. That is an 11. So 15. Let's see. Okay. If the result is 15 or more, you redirect power from all systems. This gives the engine the maximum power possible to achieve its fastest speed. The ship takes 2 damage. Do not subtract your shield value. Okay, so I have to roll a d6. And that is a 6, which I believe is one of the places that has not taken damage yet, which is good. That's helpful. So let me just get to my ship character sheet. Okay, yep. Number 6 is the cargo hold, and it has an upgrade and a crew member in there. Or no, it doesn't have an upgrade. Wait, 5 has. 6 doesn't. There's a ship. It does have a cargo guy. It does have a crew member in there. So it at least has been buffered a little bit, which helps. So I'm just going to mark 2 damage on the cargo hold. So we'll have to do some ship repairing when we get the chance. That is okay. We have a bunch of ship parts and we can always buy more next time we're in a place. So once again, there is the planet that exploded. So let's see what today's brings. Okay, so it looks like we are kind of safely through trying to escape, it looks like, since we're going to be talking with Maddox, it looks like. After clearing the blast, you slow the ship to get a full report on the status of ship and crew. You let Nayli and Askell run diagnostics while you walk throughout the ship to check on all the crew and the refugees you took on from Nick's station. So, number 1, offer care for the injured. Number 2, help calm the refugees. And number 3, talk with the scientists and Maddox. Okay, alrighty. So number 1, offer care to the injured. This is a wisdom roll, reminder, survivalist. Okay, so I gotta go back to our character sheet here. Flippy, 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 and you are a cheese booth. She's been wanting me to feed her dinner since like 7:30, which is an hour too early. And she gets a dinner when I get home, but I give her like half of what I normally give her. And then I give her like a 3/4 size at 8:30 because that's what I mix her medicine in. But today she has decided, since I got home late after like grocery shopping, that she gets an early dinner, even though she got something when I got home. And you're being annoying. She just curled up against me, my goodness. So she knows when I get up, and then she can go beg for food. Okay, I got distracted by the kitty. I'm sorry. Okay, so wisdom roll remind. Oh, we have story first. Okay. Dr. Latimer and Dr. Serpent have enough medical experience and have been caring for the injured, but could use your help. You aid in applying bandages and getting the injured people more comfortable. If you have a med kit in your inventory, you can use it now and remove it from your inventory to gain a plus 2d4 bonus on the roll below. You may only use one. If you do, gain a plus 1 virtue. Let's roll first and then decide. We'll see what the roll is. But we have a couple med kits, so I'm leaning towards doing it, but I don't want to do it if we don't need to. So we will roll first. We do have survivalist, and like I said, our wisdom is a plus 4, so we get a plus 6 to our roll, which is pretty good as is. And that's an 18, so I think we're going to not use the med kit because that's pretty high. So that puts us at, what did we have? Plus 6, so 24. So if the result, is 15 or more, so we were fine on the die, there is some significant healing among those that were previously injured. They are pleased with the care you have provided. They are grateful and toss you 8 credits. Oh my gosh. These people are refugees. Why are they paying us? Okay, number 2. Help calm the refugees. You are able to talk to the refugees, but they remain stressed from being displaced, watching the destruction of their home, and having their loved ones lost in the calamity. So this is charisma, reminder, persuasive. Another time we have to use charisma. All right, we do not have persuasive, and our charisma is a -1, or -2, I'm sorry. So let's see what happens. That is a 19, so 17. All right, I'm okay with that. All right, if the result is 15 or more, you are able to soothe many of the refugees on the ship. They are beginning to calm down and focus on the future. You are given 8 credits as a thank you. 8 credits again. I feel like they're trying to bump up our money in case we have to buy more ship parts to repair our ship after what we just went through. I feel like that's why we're getting so much credits all of a sudden. Okay, so the final section, talk with the scientists and Maddox. We are surprised to see that Maddox here isn't responding to typical treatment. These wounds were sustained from the battle back in Emanara on the planet Thorax. Standard med kits are not working. His body seems to be rejecting the medications. I've never seen anything like this before. We will need to do some more tests. Okay, so if our virtue is 5 or more, gain a plus 2 bonus to our roll. And this is just a straight charisma roll, so that nets us even. And that is a 19. Okay, all right. I'm feeling good about today. So if the result is 15 or more, Maddox is pleased with your effort to connect with him, given all the recent events. He sees your concern for others and the crew. He seems to cheer up and feel a lot better. Oddly, his wounds appear better when you first started the conversation. If you have blamed from your notes, you may remove it. We do not have blamed, so I don't know what that is, but I'm glad we weren't blamed for something. And that's it. So that's it for the quest calendar for the last 2 days. So that is fun. As for reading things, I have continued on with Last Light by Claire Kent. Monday night I got to about 78% after I filmed my clip, and then I did finish that yesterday when I got home. It didn't take very long. I had like less than an hour or something left in it. I'm gonna give it 5 stars. I really enjoyed this. I thought it was so fun, which is weird to say because this was like an apocalyptic book, but I really had so much fun with it, and I really enjoyed that. Like, this could have gone a lot harder on the horror aspects, but it didn't. Like, it was just enough to feel the tension of, what's going to happen? Are they going to make it? But you know it's a romance, so you know they're going to have their ATA. But you're not sure what's going to happen to them along the way. And I just really had a lot of fun with it. And I know I went really deep into it when I first started it, but I don't want to give too much spoilers. But I do enjoy the way that they kind of reach their HEA. They do end up teaming up with some other people from one of the people's like from the same hometown as them, and she is with two other girls and then like a military soldier dude, and they're trying to get the girl from their hometown, who's actually one of Lane's English teachers, but she was only like 2 years out of school or something when Lane had her, so they're still fairly close in age. She's fairly young, but she wants to head to like the team up of like the women group that's out there, and so the soldier dude is taking her and the two other women there, so they run into each other and then they kind of team up, which is nice. They come across this really cool like prepper's cabin in the middle of nowhere who has like solar powered energy, and he has like, you know, the super big stash of non-perishable food and like rations and like water heated up things. Like I think she said there's like brownie mix or a cake mix or some sort of chocolate dessert mix where you just add water to it. And this person, when they come across his place, there's like a skeleton, and so they think it's his, and so they kind of just claim the house as theirs for a few days because they're in a situation where they kind of need I think Travis like sprained his ankle or something like that. He was slightly injured enough that they didn't feel comfortable just still traveling and being able to like fully defend themselves. So they hang out here, and then they find out he had a dog. So this emaciated dog shows up, and they kind of befriend him, and then he becomes their person, and then he becomes their dog. And then when they go to leave that house, I was like tearing up because she was like, I don't want to leave the dog, but it's hard enough surviving with two people, let alone having to worry about a dog, having to also share potential food with a dog. But the dog just kind of jumps in their Jeep, and Lane just cannot tell the dog to get out. She's just like, I can't tell the dog to get out. And I just love how much that they're like, no, this is our dog now. And they call him Dog for a very long time. They name him in the epilogue, or at least we hear his name in the epilogue. And one of the last things I think they say in like the normal chapters of the book is like, I guess we have to name the dog now or something like that. So I really loved it. But I do want to say, I am mentioning the dog because the dog does not die. I know that situations like this, it's very common for the animals to die, but it's not just an HEA for our couple. It is also an HEA for the dog because he has a new family. He has some new people, and the dog doesn't get injured, doesn't get hurt, doesn't die. The dog is good. So I wanted to throw that out there because if you were like me and you come across the dog and they kind of start befriending the dog, you're like, what's going to happen with the dog? Because I don't really have triggers unless it's like I've only really been triggered by one book, and it was just a weird amalgamation of events that were too close to some personal things that happened to me. But the other like thing is pet death, animal death. I really struggle with that. Especially with it's a cat, but that's because my little kitty is almost 22, and I know that, you know, she's getting older and things will start, you know, at some point it will be her time, and I'm not ready for it. I've had her since she was like a week old. I am not ready. So, especially if it's a cat, I just can't handle it because I just project it onto my baby kitty. And it kind of sends me, I guess I could call it triggered. I'm more just kind of spiral, and I just give her lots of cuddles, and she's just like, I like cuddles, but oh my gosh, get off of me, mom. But when I'm crying, she also notices if I'm in another room and I'm like crying, she'll come out, even if it's for like TV or a book or whatever, and I'm not like crying. because of like my own emotional whatever, she'll like come and lay like right on top of me like, "Mommy, you're sad." And I'm just like, "Hi, I'm fine. I'm watching a TV show that's really sad, or my book's really sad," or something like that. But anyway, as for challenges that I use this for Guildathon, I applied this to Musical May. This worked for the Lost in the Woods song from Frozen, and the prompt is a book with a forest on the cover or in the story, and because they're doing a lot of traveling off-road, they go through a lot of mountain forested areas in this book, so I applied it for that. For Read the Season, I applied this to Holiday 3 for the letter K, since that's Claire Kent. And then for May Day, I used this for a plot twist, and I use this for a plot twist because I don't want to give it away, but I am going to use it for a plot twist because there's like one of a couple goals that they're trying to reach, and they just kind of are forced to give up on one of these goals because a situation happens. So that's what I'm kind of counting as a plot twist, because I feel like I don't read very many books with like real plot twists. So I'm going to use it for that. And then for Hikeathon started on Monday. I'm using this for a survival read. So there is that. Then I wasn't sure. I do need to read the next Innkeeper Chronicles book by Alona Andrews. We're doing the 4.5 novella this month, but I wasn't sure when our meeting was. I did see today the meeting is now this Friday. So I was like, uh-oh. But I checked out the graphic audio from Hoopla. It's only like 3 hours and 10 minutes or something like that. So I'll have time to do that. But what I wanted to do is start The Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. This was on my anticipated reads for this quarter. And then it came out, and it is like blowing up Bookstagram like crazy. And it's interesting because it's a very divided book. I'm seeing people give it like 4 stars, 5 stars. They're obsessed with it. Or I've seen like 2.5 stars, and they're just like, what is this nonsense? So it's very divisive, it seems like, right now. And I don't know if some of those lower star ratings are so low because of the hype and they are expecting like a super high read. But I try not to. When books like that start exploding, I like to give them time and wait until I really want to read them. But I was like, and I don't like jumping on the hyped books all that much. But I'm giving myself a pass because there is the Crow's Book Club is doing it, and the meeting is on the 24th. And then it was on my anticipated releases. So I was like, I was already excited for it before all of this happened. So I was like, I'm just gonna make myself do it. So at the beginning of the month, whenever it came out, I got on my Libby and I got on the hold list for the ebook and the audiobook. I was like, whatever pops first. I was able to check out the audiobook, but then I was hearing that the audiobook wasn't that great, that it was it made the characters seem younger than they were. And so I was like, So I returned the audiobook because there were other people waiting for it after me. And then I had an 8-week wait on the ebook. And I was like, okay, fine. But it was going quicker. And then earlier this week I checked and it was down to 6 weeks. And I was like, okay, we'll see. Then on a whim, I was like, I'll check my Hoopla. This is Monday night before I finish Last Light. So I was like, I'll leave that there. I'll look on Hoopla. Lo and behold, Hoopla had the ebook. And I was just like, ooh, okay, yay, cool, exciting. I was like, I'll check it out from Hoopla. I prefer it on Libby, but I'll check it out on Hoopla because Hoopla's like with my Libby, I have it set up so that most of the books on ebook that are available, I can then check them out through my library via Amazon. So then the ebook goes to my Kindle, which makes things so easy. But Hoopla, you like have to read the ebook in the app if you did not know that. So I was like, okay, great. I'll check it out from Hoopla. And when I'm ready to do it, because I didn't know when I was going to get to it, and even though you have it for like 21 days, I was like, I'll wait until I'm ready to read it and check it out. That is the key. I did not actually check it on a Hoopla. So Tuesday night, finished last night, return it to Kindle Unlimited, and I'm like, okay, let's start the fourth wing. Open up my Libby app, take my hold off. I was like, I'll take out of the line. The line had then since increased to like 48 people in my library district wanting it. And then they had 2 books in transit, to the local library system. And then they were both already going to be set aside for somebody. And then they both had 2 holds on them. On top of that. So I would have been the 4th person for the physical copy. And I was like, okay, whatever. I was like, okay, I'll look. And I checked, our local Walmart, and I called them, and they're like, it's the one that's right next to me. They're like, no, sorry, we don't have it in stock right now. I checked my local Target. They don't have it in stock right now. I checked Amazon. It was like $4 cheaper, which I was like, okay, cool. June 11th was the earliest ship date. I was just like, oh my gosh, this book is exploding. Everybody wants it. But the reason why I checked all of these things is because I forgot a major important part. I returned my hold from my Libby, pulled up Hoopla. It was the day before, right there in my favorites, right on my homepage, recent favorites. It was the first one. It's not there. The ebook had disappeared. I don't know if because, usually if something is on Hoopla, it's not on my Libby and vice versa. So I don't know if they took it off Hoopla or if so many people checked it out, it kind of disappeared from Hoopla or what happened there. But I was just like so angry with myself. I was like, I should have just checked it out when I saw it. I knew I had time. I don't know why I was being silly about it. But then, of course, I had already taken my hold off for my Libby, and I was just like, oh. So then I was like, okay, I'll go back on my wait list. And then my 6-week wait list turned into about 7 months. And I was just like, holy crap. So when I went grocery shopping today, I checked my local Walmart just to see. I almost bought it last time I went grocery shopping, but then I was like, it's a hardback. I know it has this pretty sprayed edges, but it's like $20. I don't like the hardbacks. I want to read it first and see if I like it before I buy it. And I get there, and there's one book there. The dust jacket is completely damaged and ripped and bent, and I was just like, ugh. But there was a lady there stocking the kids' books, and she, right when I was kind of walking away, she was like, oh, were you looking for this one? And it was the 4th wing. So I bought it. And these are the gorgeous sprayed edges. I have high hopes for this. So I have not started it. Like I said, I got it today when I was reading. This is going to replace the SJM books I planned on picking up during the hikeathon, because those were my ones for the prompts. Book with a map. And this has a map. I haven't even looked to see what the hardback looks like. Okay, it's just black. And then we've got a dragon here. So plain, but I'm excited. As you can probably tell, if you've seen any of my videos, you know. So it's black on the top and the bottom, but we got dragons there. So I have high hopes for this. I feel like I'm going to be more in the enjoyment club at the very least, because this is about dragon riders and I am a dragon girly. Obviously, I have Dungeons and Dragons stuff. I am a big dragon person. I love the dragon shifters. I love Abraxos, who's a wyvern technically, but I am a big dragon person. So I have very high hopes for this, but this will be this weekend's plans. So I just had to get my sword because I was so freaking frustrated last night. But I plan on reading this for Hikeathon this weekend. And then I need to pick up the Alona Andrews. I'm planning on picking that one up tomorrow night, Thursday night. So, but what I decided to start last night was one of my other Hikeathon reads, and I was looking at the prompts, and one of them was for elemental magic, and I had 2 different books I was choosing between, and I decided to go with Phoenix Unbound by Grace Draven. This is the first book in her Fallen Empire. This is, I think, her only traditionally published series. And this is published by Ace. But yeah, I haven't read this series yet. I have all 3 of them in paperback because I will buy anything that Grace Draven has, and I buy them in paperback because this is the type of illustrated cover that I love. Oh my gosh, I'm getting like so excited. And I have a little dragon bookmark in here. If you want to see, it's a dragon that's eating a donut. He's eating a donut. Isn't that cute? And then the bottom is just like yellow, but isn't that the cutest thing? But so, I am 105 pages in, and this is like 400-ish pages, just under 400 pages. And this is really interesting. This definitely has a slower vibe, I feel like. It feels different than her indie published, but I don't know if this is because it's a completely different world. Although I've read several of her books that are set in different worlds, but this one just feels different. And I don't know if it's because it is traditionally published, so there's a different type of editing that happens to it. But I feel like Ace, I don't even know who Ace is a part of. Okay, it's a part of Berkeley, which is a part of Penguin. Okay. But I feel like a lot of the fantasies I read that are traditionally published are from like Avon and HarperCollins. Is that it? I mean, then there's the Sarah J. Maas. Yeah, and all of the Alona Andrews fantasy series. Oh, and then Kensbury something, I think. Kensington. The one with a K. So, this one just feels different, but it's definitely interesting. So our heroine's name is, I think, Ghislaine? Maybe Glenn. It's Gilene. But she has fire magic. And she also has illusion magic. But in this world, you've got like the main capital of this continent, main country type area. And every year they have what's called the spring tides, I think is what they called it. Spring something. But what they do is they have like gladiator style fights, and for like 2 or 3 days leading up to this big event. And then they bring what is known as the flowers of spring. And what that is one lady from every town that's considered associated with this main city. So all like the little villages around it that are considered a part of the same area and are a part of the same, I guess, governmental system as these people. They have to give their a woman, whether it seems like there's no age requirement, just a woman, and for these tithes. Now, these people are taking women, some of them are younger. It seems like most of them are at least through puberty, so at least late teens, if not older. But when they arrive to this city, they are taken to the gladiator pits underneath those. And these women are given to the remaining gladiators who have won their fights as like a prize. They're able to claim their flesh. And then the next morning, they all get burned alive in service to this king. Or I guess I think they're calling him an emperor and an empress, but mostly they refer to them as himself and herself, capitalized. But because Galeen has magic, she kind of is forced. So it's kind of interesting because it's not generational magic, it seems. At least the magic that she has. It seems like there's one woman in her small town that ends up with this magic. And she is always kind of inscripted to become the tithe every year. So what Galeen has been doing, I think this is her fourth year doing this, is she does illusion magic to change what she looks like so nobody recognizes her. And when it is time to be burned alive, she uses her fire magic to kind of make things go quicker. So a lot of the other women have very quick deaths. And then she is able to illusion herself as like a flame. And when she makes the flames like freak out, she makes them like shoot flames out and people get freaked out and try to back up from like the pyre. And so she's able to kind of sneak out illusioned as one of these flames that's flying out. And then she then changes an illusion to look like a servant person and sneaks out and meets up with her brothers. But this magic, I mean, really kind of knocks her out and drains all of her energy. And then so she needs like several days to recover. What's also interesting is when she uses this magic, it creates burns on her. So her back and her leg get these horrendous blisters. And so she's very scarred from these like, it's like she's burning from the inside, but it's blistering on the outside. So she's covered in these burn scars. But this year, she runs into like the number one gladiator, and his name is Azarion. And she had met eyes with him the year prior and was like freaked out because she felt like he could see through her glamour. And when he arrived and when he wins the number one battle, he gets to pick his lady first for the night. And she's like trying to avoid his gaze. He forces to meet her gaze and he recognizes it's the same person. I can see through her glamour. He can still see her glamour, but he's able to see through it. So it was kind of interesting. And he basically blackmails her. He chooses her and he blackmails her to use her illusion magic after she's able to escape the pyre to break him out. And his plan is to get back to his people who are kind of like nomads in the steppes, the STEPPE. So that's like the landscape area or topography, I guess, whatever it's called. And like take his rightful place, whatever that means. And when she is sneaking her way out to her two brothers to get taken back home, and it's kind of interesting. Okay, I'll finish. He kidnaps her. So he picks her up and accidentally knocks her unconscious because he kind of throws her over his horse and then his knee hits her head and he knocks her unconscious. And then they're trying to escape the people sent to hunt him down because the Empress or herself likes him. He is her favorite bull. She is definitely loves the pain and loves to see other people in pain. And she's basically forced them into a physical relationship, and he's had to kind of train his lower man parts to respond to her attentions because he knows he will die if, he's not ready for her to take her pleasure. So definitely triggers. It wasn't overly graphic. I mean, I feel like the violence was more graphic than the Queen Empress lady taking her pleasure from Azarion, but I mean, warning, there's blood, violence. I mean, it's rape. Let's call it what it is. Of the hero, which is, not that I like to see representation of that, but I think I feel like that's something that isn't talked about just even in normal life, that men can be sexually assaulted just as much as a woman can be, and by a woman. So it feels weird to use the word representation, but I do like that that is something that is slightly discussed and brought up, because usually, especially in these kind of historical-esque fantasy situations, it's usually the women that are going through that type of assault. So, not that it was nice to see our hero assaulted, but I liked, I guess, the discourse that's created about it being the fact that it's the hero and not the heroine. I hope that makes sense. I hope I'm not speaking weird and it sounds like I'm this horrible person who wants to see that type of thing in my books, because I don't. But it's not a trigger for me. Like I mentioned earlier, I don't really have triggers. So I just want to throw that out there. But yeah, they go to the city. I mean, there's a lot kind of going on, but I feel like there's also not a lot going on. So he calls her Agacia, or he has like a word that's like in his own language. And he calls her Agasin, but Agasin is like a human or like a priestess type person. The way he kind of explained it slightly is that there's this goddess of magic or fire magic, or just this goddess that his people believes in. I don't know if quite worships, but it's just a goddess of the world. And the people that have her flame magic or her magic are called Agasins. And so he keeps calling her Agasin because she wouldn't tell him his name for a long time. And so it seems like there's something kind of there. It seems like he kind of mentioned something, and it seems like his mother might have magic. They run into some like traveling merchant caravan people who just are very kind of nomadic in the sense that they're constantly traveling from to town selling their wares. But they're not like full on nomadic out in the steppes like his people are. They're still like civilized nomads, I guess. I don't know. I don't know, guys. I don't know. I feel like I'm just rambling out my butt here. But I'm enjoying it. Right now, it's probably at a 4 stars. The romance hasn't quite started going. I mean, it's obviously going to be them. He is attracted to her. He did not sleep with her that first night. He like made a point, and he's always made a point to make her try to feel safe as much as she can with the fact that she's kidnapped by him. And he says he'll take her to her hometown once he can. I can't remember what he says, but he says something kind of vague. But then when we're in his POV, we know he's trying to take her back to his home place to claim his birthright or something like that. So I feel like he might be like a leader or something of one of these clans or something. But I don't know. I'm having fun with it. It's just going a little bit slower. I feel like it's a little bit not necessarily drier, but I feel like this one is a little bit harder to get into the world. I feel like for most Grace Draven books, like once I'm in. And this one has taken a little bit for me to be in it. But I'm excited to see where it goes. I'm excited to learn more. It seems like it's a part 1, and I'm guessing that there's at least a part 2, because part 1 is called The Empire. So I don't know what part 2 is, and if there's going to be more than a part 2, if it's a part 3. But this is my plan for tonight, is to go back to this. And oh my gosh, we're at 41 minutes. I just cannot stop myself from talking. I am sorry. It is Wednesday, and I'm pretty sure this video is almost 2 hours long. I'm sorry. I'm going to try to be really fast. So I'm going to stop talking at you. And I'm going to get to reading because it's just after 8 o'clock and I would like to read. So I'll see you tomorrow. Hopefully, maybe, we'll see. Hello. So, it is Friday. I did not do a clip last night. There was just a lot going on and I fell asleep on the couch and then I woke up and it was like 12:30 in the morning and I was just got up and then went to bed at that point. But we do have some things to talk about. So, I'm going to do books first. So, last night I did manage to finish Phoenix Unbound. I'm going to give this 4 stars. So I enjoyed this. I definitely had a lot of fun. I mean, Grace Draven is so great at world building and things like that. But I still have a lot of questions about how exactly magic works in this place. Now, I do kind of feel like it was more explained a little bit later that the Empire, which is the main city, is like Kralik or something like that. They, like the Emperor and the Empress, basically killed everybody off who had any type of magic. So it's very secretive if people do have magic. But I found it interesting that it seems like even in other places that aren't a part of the Empire, that it's not always, I just lost the name, passed down from generation to generation, genetic. So, but there was a comment made slightly that it seems to matter where you're born. And it might have something to do with the soil of the earth where you're born or something like that. But that just could have been just beliefs of, the Azarians people who live on the steppes. I can't remember what they're called. Savar something. Savar? Savar? Savatar. Savatar. So, that's fine. The fantasy elements, I would give a 5 stars. I mean, Grace Draven does such a great job with the fantasy elements and the world building. I just have more questions, specifically about the magic and the magic system and training and that type of thing. Where I was mostly let down is the romance. Now, this is a slow burn. This is a very big slow burn. Despite our characters meeting like in the beginning of the book. So I feel like this is kind of on the level of a Mariana Zapata slow burn. However, I didn't quite feel the tension between them. They were just still so antagonistic towards each other, outwardly. And there were moments where it was like, oh, like he definitely was more lax than she was, which I get it. He kidnapped her. But she would have moments where she would see him in a different light, or she would be really attracted to him when he would do something, but then she'd just like shove it deep down. And then, I mean, we don't get a kiss at all, like a real kiss between them till like 250 pages in. And then where I kind of really was struggling, okay, I don't know what's going on, but a long string is dangling down from the porch above me, and it's like hanging in front of my like back door. And I don't know what's going on the porch up above me, but that's really weird. Anyway, so he promises her to take her back. He points out some things about her magic. And, you know, there was mention about how, you know, every year the spring tithes have been increased. The rites of spring, that's what they call it. And it seems to be like more and more women are taken every year. And Azarian kind of points out, you know, this might have something to do with, you know, you and the people who before you are these fire wielders. He's like, when you do this, outside of just it causing to like flash burn, you're also causing it to move in ways that is slightly unnatural to how fire would move. And, you know, she disguises herself as a flame to leave the big arena. And he's just like, have you ever really thought or put together that you causing the fire to move in this unnatural way makes it seem like divine intervention, which makes them even more excited and even more likely to not just continue the same level of fervor for this ritual sacrifice, but make it bigger and better every year. And she kind of has some thinking to do on that. But I really dislike it because they do separate. He practically begs her to stay with him. And he's like, we are going to war. You will not have to be doing these rites. We are going to war. I also kind of found it interesting that the main city pulled a lot of the outer soldiers and garrisons and stuff in towards the city, because it was like there was like a double attack planned. And the main people, I know this is spoiler, but we've already kind of spoiled a bunch of it anyway, so we're just gonna go. So the main group of like Savitar people are going to attack the city and make it look like they're going to sack the city. If they end up doing so, great. But their like real plan is for the city to pull all of its soldiers in for backup, or most of its soldiers in for backup, and then they can take over some of the garrisons and forts and posts that they're building to try to go around and get into the steppes and the Savitar lands and the other nomad people lands on the other side of this continent. Because the Savitar have what's called this veil, and all of the fire witches of the Savitar sink their magic into basically creating this wall of fire. And there's a special tattoo that all Savitars are given when they're young that is done by a Savitar fire witch that allows them to cross through the veil unharmed. The veil is also created not as a trap, but as a safety measure. So there's like rules set up in it that like any animal can go back and forth. So like horses are fine, dogs are fine, whatever animal. And so there was this tense moment of crossing where it's like, is Galeen really a fire witch? Is her power really coming from this goddess, the fire goddess? They call her the Great Mare. Agan? You know, I had notes and I don't know what I did with my notes. But anyway, the like fire goddess that they call her the Great Mare. Oh, here we go. Agna is what she's called. So I think it's interesting. I think it's very interesting. And these fire witches are very much revolted. Like when the leaders of these different Savitar clans come to make a decision or come to pick a new leader, the fire witches, Gassins, have final say on if it's a good choice, if it's a bad choice. So I thought that was really interesting. There's a lot of power to these Agassins. I don't know. I just thought it was so much interesting. Where I was let down was the romantic episode of it. He was all for her. I mean, he was kind of attracted to her in the beginning. And then he also took advantage of the fact that he needed an Agassin to validate his claim as leader of the clan, that he is the son of the previous leader of the clan. And I was really worried that his mom or his sister wouldn't be there, or his mom or his sister would have been tortured or something like that, but they weren't. So that was nice. I think it sounds like his father was still alive and just really sick when this happened. And so it happened before Azarion would have naturally taken over the clan, and we find out that his cousin actually, had some of his friends, buddy people ambush him, knock him out, and sell him to slavers, and that's how he ended up as a gladiator. And it sounds like the Empress might have killed the Emperor, is the rumor that's going around. And then a shot was, the best archer fired a shot at the Empress during the big, battle stage at the end. And it seems like she's wounded, but she's hiding for now in a different palace, and the city has kind of been left to ruination. But I just really didn't like that Galeen separated herself from Azarion for this town, and she had thought slightly in the beginning about, this is her duty, she feels like she's trapped by these people, she's trapped by this sense of duty that's been forced onto her because she has this magic by her town. And she's always kind of felt like an outsider, but now going back to them after being in a more communal situation of living, she feels even more like an outsider. And even her own parents are questioning her on if she tried to run away or if she was really kidnapped. But her brothers saw her get kidnapped, but they're like, it took you forever to get back to here. Why are you even, we're surprised you even came back here. And maybe it was your guilt and you were going to escape and then you came. It was just a weird situation. And I'm like, these people they just use her, and they are happy to have her be raped and be injured drastically every time she uses this magic. And then I feel that was another thing. It wasn't 100% understood or explained, but I think it kind of ish was. But I feel like the reason why when she uses her fire magic, she gets covered in burns is because it's kind of postured earlier in the book, and then we see a situation where it's slightly kind of mentioned like it will be no more. But there's a couple beliefs. Galeen is barren because her and previous fire witches of her town have never had children. But, if they're in this situation where every year they're being sent to be raped by these gladiators, and then potentially die, hopefully not, but potentially die in this ritual burning at the stake, are they really forming romantic relationships? Are they really able to open up to someone and share, their life with someone like that? So is it more like they're thinking they're barren because they're only really doing it with these gladiators forcibly once a year, and nobody has ended up pregnant? And then maybe using the fire magic maybe stops whatever potentially might be happening. I don't know. I thought it was interesting, but there is a remark that she's not barren. There is also kind of a remark that they think that she's injured is because because she's not a Savitar, she doesn't worship or honor Agna. She doesn't really honor any god, which I thought was kind of interesting. She's kind of agnostic, I think. I know that there's a difference between them, but the different A words when it comes to gods. But she doesn't really believe, she believes that other people believe in them, but she doesn't really believe in them herself. And so Agna doesn't see her, so she doesn't, and so there's a disconnect between Galeen receiving this magic supposedly from this fire goddess, and because she's not worshiping her, honoring her, and because she's not in an area that the goddess is typically aware of, it seems like that's why she's getting injured, because it's almost like she's untapping into magic that she shouldn't have, but she does have. But because she doesn't know I hope this is making sense. But this is kind of where I'm confusing, because it kind of seems like this theory that's postured fairly early on in the book is kind of ish confirmed, but not really. So that's also where I'm kind of confused. I just want to learn more about this magic system and exactly how it works. And yeah, I just wanted more from their romance, because they get separated and then I don't know. It just didn't quite work for me. This definitely felt like there was a lot of romance in this. I definitely feel like this is the romantasy genre that I really dislike that word. I don't know why, but every time I hear somebody like, I read romantasy, I'm like, eh. To me, I think there is a difference between fantasy romance and romantasy. For me, and I've seen a couple other people explain this, and I'm like, yes, where fantasy romance is a subgenre of the romance genre. It is a romance with fantastical elements. It is a romance set in a fantasy land, a fantasy situation. However, I mean, there's lots of different types of fantasy within that, but romance is the key. Romantasy, to me, is still a romance, but the higher, like, instead of it being like more of a 50-50, it's more like a 70-30, where the fantasy elements are more of a priority. And while the romance is very integral and it is still a romance, they get their HEA, it is still important to the storyline. It's not as important as the fantastical elements. So fantasy, but then there's fantasy with romantic elements, and that, I think, is kind of like women's fiction, where there's romantic elements, but it doesn't necessarily guarantee an HEA. But I feel like with romantasy, you still get the HEA, and then fantasy romance, obviously, you get the HEA. So I think that's a lot of different situations out there. I feel like a lot of fantasy with romantic elements also has HEAs, because why have a romance in there? But, you know, then there's He Who Shall Not Be Named. But I feel like this is definitely more of a romantasy, maybe even a fantasy with romantic elements, because the romance just, I don't know, I just disliked how against the situation that Galeen was the entire time. And, you know, and she was just like, you have good points, you have good points, you have good points. I do want to stay with you, but I can't abandon these people. Yes, I know that they don't support me. They're not good to me. You know, they don't treat me like family or a valid member of the community. They're just using me to save the other women in the village. And then she regrets it the entire time there, pretty much. She doesn't even feel good for saving these other people. It's more that I feel like she gets more fulfillment, in a way, of being able to make the other women who are on the pyre with her die quick, as painless as possible deaths. And I feel like that's where she gets more of her honorability and be able in being forced to participate this, not as much as saving the people of her city, but being able to offer a quick death for the other women who are the flowers of spring. So once again, I'm rambling on about this book, but there's a lot going on in it, and I have a lot of thoughts. And sometimes when it's not a 5-star, I have a lot of thoughts, because there's a lot of different sticking points for me. Also, one other thing I really want to mention. When they are, you know, they get some of these other tribes, these other peoples, when the Savitar are headed to the city to join in and revolt against the Empire, because the Empire had kind of colonized them, basically. I mean, they didn't turn them into colonies, but they took them over. So I feel like that aspect of colonization. And then they left all of these like vassal towns and villages that are under the empire, so to speak. Like Galeen's town are just left with no guards. And I'm like, all of these towns, all of these people living in these towns probably hate the Empire and hate them for forcing them to give up grandmothers, mothers, daughters, wives, this last right there was babies there. And it was a lot more drastic in age. There was some older women, there was some babies with like still suckling on their mothers. Like this last right was ridiculous. And I'm like, you can't tell me at this last done. And then they took double the amount of women. You can't tell me that these villages are not willing to stand up and fight with this giant army that's like coming to take out the Empire. You can't tell me that nobody would be willing to step up from these other towns. But the Savitar were raising these towns, and as per Galeen, her town was left alone. Why did they not try to commission these people to help fight them and to help take back from the Empire? Because the Empire wasn't a good place. I just didn't understand why the Savitar were also like, I get it, take out the big Empire city and where everybody is, but these small towns on the outskirts, why are we raising them? Why are we raiding them? Why are we taking these places and damaging them? Those are the people on the outskirts who are being forced to capitulate to the Empire for safety. So yeah, those are my thoughts on this book. And I know I ranted a lot about it. And so part of me's like, well, I give this 4 stars. But I did really enjoy it. There were just a lot of questionable things for me. But it's Grace Draven. So even though there were questionable things for me, it still was written well, like writing style wise. And I don't know. I'm intrigued. I did look at the blurbs for the next 2 books. I didn't even really look at the blurb for this one. I also was a little disappointed because she's a fire witch. And I thought we might have something to do with phoenixes. Like she might turn into a phoenix, or we find out the goddess is actually a phoenix and that's how they get these powers. Or there's a rebirth situation. And there kind of was a rebirth situation, but not like an actual phoenix. And with magical creatures potentially being in the world, like dragons, I wanted there to be a magical phoenix. Let's be honest. But the second book is Dragon, and the second book is the healer who potentially has some magic, and it's Dragon something. Dragon Unleashed. And then the third book, which more recently came out, is Raven Unveiled, and that one is... they call her a shade seer. So she's like a psychic medium. She can see like ghosts and shades. And her book is book 3. And both of them, I didn't really read all of the blurb because I just saw the names and I saw enough to figure out who like the heroine is, the basic description of her. So I knew the heroines, but I don't think we've met either of the heroes. So I didn't really dig into their portion of the blurb. So, but anyway, it's now 23 minutes. I've talked on way too long about this book, but I have thoughts and I needed to share them with you. So for Gildathon, I applied this to Musical May for the musical Hades Town, the song Road to Hell. And that's read a book with gods or the underworld, and there is gods or at least a god in this book. For Read the Season, I applied this to holiday number 3 for the letter G. For Hikeathon, I use this for elemental magic. So there's that. Okay, moving on. Then I was going to read this yesterday, and I did not. I started this morning. I got a little bit in this morning. I got like 20-ish% before I had to go to work. And then I listened to most of the rest of the graphic audio at work. And then I had about 40 minutes left when I got home. So I finished this with like 6 minutes before the live show tonight. So I definitely cut it close. But I was like, it's a novella. I'll get to it. It's a novella. It'll go quick. And then I just waited to last minute. But this is novella in the Innkeeper Chronicles series. So this is book 4.5. We are back with Dina and Sean. And I love this. 5 stars. I was laughing so much at work today. I mean, Alona Andrews knows how to write a novella. They do not waste a word. I mean, they do not waste a word even in their full-length books. But they're just, it hit every single note. I mean, this is probably one of the funniest books I've read from them. Even with the hilarity that happens in some of the previous books, especially when we're with Dina and Sean. I think this one is the funniest. I was dying so much at work today. It cracks me up. Alona Andrews just is so good. And I love that we're back with Gertrude Hunt. And even though it's a novella and it's super short, we do get a lot that goes on in here. We meet 3 new races, alien races. We have kind of Dina and Gertrude Hunt really coming to terms about the situations that happened 2 books before when Dina kind of abandoned Gertrude Hunt in a way to connect to the seedling and then go through a portal to a different world to just, I mean, she did it to give the seedling a connection as it died, but she also did it to save Gertrude Hunt because she knew if she didn't get to a different world or a different area, there would be a clashing of the 2 ends trying to take place. So, and I just loved how, you know, we get a little bit of working through that. We still kind of get some working through of Sean and Dina, and like they've mostly got their dynamic figured out, but as innkeepers, he's still kind of like, they're still kind of button heads a little bit. I mean, we get a couple little scenes of Tony, which is fun, and I had so much fun. This is set about 2 weeks after the last book with them. So not Sweep of the Blade. I think it's One Fell Sweep. So book 3, because the previous book we were with Maud and Arland. So this, I feel like, takes place kind of on the same timeline. I feel like this book is definitely a lot shorter than their book, but I don't know exactly how long their book started after like the Christmas festivities, and this one takes place like 2 weeks after Christmas. So yeah, there's that. 5 stars. I mean, I don't really have much to say about this book outside of I loved it. And if you've read the Innkeeper Chronicles and you're sleeping on this novella, it is amazing. It is awesome. And I'm trying not to go on too much about it because this clip is already super long. So I think I'm just going to leave it at that. And I loved it, and it was great and amazing. The graphic audio was so good for this. So good for this. Oh, the noises and the sound effects and the music. Oh, it was so good. It was so good. And there's an alien race in here that's like all they do is like debate each other, and they're basically space chickens. Sentient space chickens. There is a picture of them in here. And there's like clucking noises every time we're with them in this book, in the graphic audio. It is the best thing. So as for reading challenges for Gildathon, I also use this for Musical May, and I applied this for Be More Chill Musical for the song 2-Player Game as buddy read. I mean, technically it's more book club than buddy read, but I'm kind of mushing those together. I typically do that. I typically count buddy reads and book clubs as similar things when it comes to prompts, even though I know technically they're not, but I count it. Because a lot of the times when I try to do a buddy read, it kind of turns into a book club because people just read at different rates. And I'm not always someone who it's like, let's read 3 chapters and discuss. And I'm like, I just want to keep reading, or I don't have much to say about those 3 chapters until I know what happens like in chapter 4 or something like that. So that's why I kind of mush prompts like those together. For Read the Season, I also applied this to Holiday 3 for the letter I. And then for Hikeathon, I used this for trees on the cover. Technically, it's just one tree, but I'm counting it. And I only have 2 prompts left for Hikeathon. So, other book news, I think that's it. That's all I've read. I do plan tonight on picking up The Fourth Wing, possibly, maybe. I want to rewatch Ant-Man Quantumania because it just dropped back on Disney Plus because I plan on going and seeing Guardians of the Galaxy 3 this weekend, and I want to rewatch Ant-Man first. I know technically it probably won't have much to do with it, but I want to rewatch it and refresh like the latest developments in the MCU before I go see the new video. So I might start this tonight or I might start it tomorrow. We'll see what happens there. Then I do have one little thing of book mail. So I want to give away a couple weeks ago, actually, from Lauren Connolly, who, if you were around last month, I read the first book in her Folkhaven series. And I was just like, oh my gosh, her name sounds familiar. And I have had her on my TBR forever. And I thought she was a new author. And then I had to go back. And then I was like, oh, she has the third book in the Green Valley Heroes series from Smarty Pants Romance, of which the first 2 books are Kilby Blades and Juliet Cross. And she was doing a giveaway. And I won her giveaway. And the package came. And it was a similar package to this. And there was a huge rip right there and then all the way down here. And there was nothing in it. So I sent her pictures and I was just like, oh my God, I can't believe it. What's funny enough is the book that I won is a little bit of spoiler, but it has to do with like a mail carrier hero or something like that. So, you know, the irony there. But then I contacted her and I was like, it's fine if you don't want to send it to me. I don't know what you had planned for it. I can send you whatever pictures. I looked to see, I don't know if you had insurance on it and you can try to get your money back or whatever. But she was very sweet about the whole thing. She was like, holy cow, that thing is trash. I mean, this is like a nice cardboard. And it was like crumpled so much. It like felt like paper. It was just so trashed. And I was like, and then of course my mail person, first of all, it said it was delivered on a Thursday. And it didn't show up until a Tuesday in my mailbox. And then it was this type of envelope, like folded up and shoved in my tiny little square. And I'm like, where along the way did they go, something happened here? And they just, I don't know. I don't know what happened there. But anyway, the new package she sent me arrived today. So we're going to open it together. I'm very excited. I do know what book it is, like I said. But I don't know if she put anything else in here or what else is going on. So it looks like the book. So here it is. Letter Late. Oh, there was something else in there. Letter Late Then Never. Look at it. It's so pretty. Now, I do have to say, the first book in the series, that's one thing too. It is signed, and this has a cat dad, which, you know, sign me up. And that's what the question was, do you prefer a cat dad or a dog dad? And I was like, I prefer one that has both, but as I am a cat mom, I would prefer a cat dad. But, you know, I like having both. Or something like that. But anyway, so this one is blue. The second book is like this brownie burlap kind of cover. And then the third one, or the first one, was like green. But I have a special edition of the first book that is the same burlappy as Juliet Cross's book. So now I'm just like, do I want to buy a different copy of the first book so I can have the green, brown, and blue? Because now it'll look weird that this one is different than the other two. You know what I mean? But I'm very excited. And I'm very excited to read this. In my silliness, this is, I don't know if you're around it. I mentioned it before. I was like, oh my gosh, I love this. It's a new author. She wasn't a new author. I have 2 of her paranormal like novella books on my shelf that I've read before. So I don't know what happened there. But I had to go back and fix my spreadsheet because I was like, I don't understand, because I was looking through my book covers and made notes of who my new authors for the month of April were, and I was like, how am I missing a new author? My stats say I have 7. I only have 6. And then I realized I had marked Lauren Connolly as a new author, but I had read her before, and I have her books. So I have another one now, and I'm very excited. So thank you so much to Lauren. I am so excited to read this. So that's my one little book mail. Another package. It's been a very package heavy, and I thought something fell out, but I just knocked out my notes. So I'm going to stop blabbering at you. We're going to do the quest calendar, hopefully very quick. And I'm sorry that this is going to be a very long video this week. Depending on how things look, I might have to do a part 1 and part 2. But if you're watching this, you will know which way I went. So I'm just going to stop talking to you. All right. Let me move my quest calendar forward. There's a kitty right here. I think you might have seen her little head sticking up like right here earlier. All right. I'm going to stop getting distracted, or I'm going to attempt to stop getting distracted. So let's continue on. So we have 2 days to do. Last time we were wandering and helping people who are injured on the ship and getting kind of people assess. So, okay, it looks like we're doing something mechanically, robotically, who knows. Askell and SD113 contact you over the intercom. They're having problems connecting to the atmosphere sensors and need you to manually synchronize the primary sensor matrix. Okay. So, number 1, what do you know about atmospheric sensors? 2, unlock the panel. 3, fix the terminal. And 4, run diagnostics. Okay, all right. So, I took my book out, but I actually didn't open it up to my character page. So let's do that so we can see our stats here. All right. So what do you know about atmospheric sensors? This is an intellectual reminder student. So we do have student, which gives a +2, and our intellect is a +1. So we get a +3, and that is a 15. So 18 total. Okay, you have seen and studied various diagrams as well as worked on one some time ago. Gain a +4 bonus to all other rolls on this page. Sweet. Okay, so number 2, unlock the panel. The panel is stuck and the lock is jammed. You will need to force it open. So strength, reminder, locksmith. We don't have locksmith, so just strength, which is a -2. But we get our +4, so it's a +2. So let's see what happens. That is a 19. Sweet. So 21 total. Okay, if the result is 15 or more, you knock it in just the right place to open the panel. It swings open easily. Okay, easy enough. Number 3, fix the terminal. There's a mess of wires and switches inside that are impossible to discern. Things are fixed with tape and glue. Okay, so this is a wisdom roll reminder, engineering. So no engineering, our wisdom is a +4. So we had a +8 on this. Wow, that's crazy. And that is a 15, so 23. If the result is 15 or more, you spend some time carefully adjusting wires and knobs to realign the sensor matrix. Everything looks perfect. Gain a +2 to run diagnostics, number 4 below. Okay, so we're going into this with a +6. So running diagnostics should properly tell you if the terminal was fixed and send information back to Askell and SD113 back on the bridge. So intellect, reminder, computers. We do have computers. And once again, our intellect is a +1. So we have 3 from that, 4 from the 1, so that's 7, plus another +2. So we're at +9. Okay. Okay there. Okay. And 13. So 22. If the result is 11 or more, it seems to be working properly now. You end up saving some money on what would otherwise require an expensive repair. Gain 6 credits. Okay, all right. That's crazy. so there's that. That was yesterday, Thursday's things. So we have fixed the matrix. Well, sensor matrix, but it's fun to say we fixed the matrix, right? All right, so, okay, it looks like more sciencey things. It looks like we might be doing another spacewalk. Escal informs you that there are some breaches in the hull of the Karnak. These need to be repaired at once for everyone's safety. Get some tools, suit up, and prepare for a spacewalk. So fun. And it was even better as I wore my little astronaut earrings today. Because I don't know. This morning I was feeling astronauts and they are different and they're super cute. And he's holding a star. I don't know if you can tell. And then I couldn't find my like spaceship, so I'm wearing a Star Trek necklace. So, you know, you make do. And then I've got Star Wars socks on. So, you know what? We're just hitting all the things. All right. So, 1A is request help getting into your spacesuit. And 1B is demand help with your spacesuit. No. Oh my gosh. We've already done this. And then number 2 is get your suit on. Okay. I mean, this is important. We want to put our suit on properly, right? So, charisma, reminder, persuasive. So, once again, our charisma is a -2. And we don't have persuasive. And honestly, it doesn't matter. You get the same result. There's only one option for what happens. So, in my mind, we are doing it the nice way. And that is a 1. So, we are going to use our reroll for the page. Because we can't do worse than a 1, right? So, that is our time step power that our character has. So, I don't know why I'm looking this. I don't know what my response is. That is a 16. So, what are we at? -2, so 14. Okay. If the result is between 8 and 14, we were 1 off from getting higher. Yeah, I will check you over once I look over mine. Gain a +1 bonus to get your suit on. Number 2 below. Cool. So we get a +1. That's great. Okay. If you have suited up noted down from an earlier page, we do. Okay. Get a +4 bonus on this roll. All right. Okay, so us having done this previously does help us. Okay, interesting. Cool. So we get a +5 plus our wisdom, which is a +4. So we are a +9. And that is a 19. So we are good. If the result is 15 or more, your suit was put on with care and checked over thoroughly. And that's it. All right. Nice. And that's it for the quest calendar. So I'm going to stop talking to you. Thank you so much for watching this, whether it's a part 1, a part 2, or whatever's going on. I hope you have a great weekend. And if you'd like to leave me a comment below, let me know if long form vlogs like this are your jam or not. I feel like most of the people who are subscribing to me do enjoy these longer form videos, but I don't know if I'm going too long or if you just enjoy me going off and rambling about books. But, you know, maybe I should start separating things out and maybe I shouldn't. So let me know what you would rather watch, or if I should just keep going and doing what I'm doing, you know? And then I'll find the people who like to watch what I like to make. So that's also a thing. If you'd rather just leave me an emoji, why don't you leave me a cat emoji? Because I'm getting yelled at by mine in the background. But otherwise, thank you so much for watching once again. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe, and I will see you all soon with another video.